A special welcome to Mr. Joel Salatin in this beautiful province of Overijssel. We're very happy to have you here.
Well, it is a real honor to be here with you. I just can't tell you what a joy it is to be able to be here and share with you. Can everybody hear me okay? I will, and I appreciate your willingness to make it understandable for me, but I'm okay if you want to, converse. Yes. But I will speak slower than normal in order. You can normally hear quicker than you can speak, yeah. So we'll be okay. So we're in Virginia in the Shenandoah Valley on the east coast of the United States, and if I spoke to my neighbor farmers about what I'm going to tell you, they would all tell me it's impossible, it can't be done here. So that attitude toward new ideas is deep within us. The idea that somebody else being successful at an alternative idea, well, they have a special advantage that I don't have. They have more money, a better piece of land, better neighbors, a better wife, better parents, right? And the tendency is always to assume that the other person has some sort of an unfair advantage. All right, and so I would just ask that you realize that we are far more similar than different. In our area, people eat. People want cheap food. The entrenched conventional thinking is that chemicals are good, and confining animals in small buildings or big buildings, but confining them in buildings is necessary for efficiency in order to feed the world. That local food systems are kind of old-fashioned, outdated, not very sexy. And so you do understand that word. There are a lot of similarities, okay? And so what we've done at our farm over our time is have gone to a solar-driven, carbon-centric, biological-based, beyond organic, portable, pasture-based system.
Can everybody follow these?
Is everybody with me?
Do we need a Dutch translation?
Carbon-centric, carbon-based rather than chemical fertilizer. We believe that food is fundamentally biological, not mechanical.
Yeah, so what do you mean by biological? Because that has a lot of different ways of interpreting.
Yes. Life is more biological than mechanical. That means it is living. The difference is that if you have a wheel bearing in your car, you go out and go thump, 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 thump.
Nah.
You can't go to that bearing and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't, grease you or oil you. Will you forgive me for, mistreating you? Would you like to rest? we'll just wait here a couple of days, and
We continue.
when you can wait 5 years, and when you get back in the car and start down the road, thump, 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 right? Mechanical things do not heal, and they do not forgive abuse. Living things, biological things, can heal, and they can forgive abuse. And they will respond to affection, to healing capacity. All right? Yes.
Why did you start at this way of farming?
Just maybe you should finish your story, and
All
then
right.
we have like 10,
Okay.
15 minutes to ask you.
Okay.
Sorry?
Pasture-based.
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 Want
All
Jan, wat
right.
is de vertaling daarvan?
Grondgebonden, dus beweiding. Beweiding.
Okay,
Beweiden.
that's fine. Yeah.
One of the things that there's so many areas to discuss here, and we don't have all day.
We should actually, but no.
But one of the things, but you know, at the master class we will discuss all of these things because we have 2 days. But one of the things that really is possible now, and as I look around the buildings here, they're amazing, tremendous structures. But notice how little they're being used for what they were built for. Until very recently, with electric fencing, black plastic pipe, portable shelters, nursery shade cloth, mesh plastic shade cloth, bandsaw mills, so that instead of building with this kind of timber, we can build things out of almost tinker toys. Tinker toys? All right? Small materials, all right? All of that has allowed us now to farm with lightweight, portable infrastructure, so that the equity in a farm, the investment, the value in a farm is not in buildings and structures. It's in management and information. Because the infrastructure, the buildings, the equipment are not necessary. In the United States, the average farm requires $4 in depreciable
What is that?
infrastructure.
Losing value.
Yeah, things that
Upside,
deteriorate.
upside.
Things, okay.
Yeah.
$4 of that for every $1 in annual gross sales. At our farm, we average 50 cents of infrastructure to $1 in gross sales. That's an 800% difference in capital costs versus output. Okay? Now, I love old buildings. I'm not being disrespectful here. But now we can farm without all of this infrastructure, which is very expensive to maintain. Leaks in the roof, rotting wood. I mean, it takes time and machinery. And so, as we started down this path, what we found was consumers, people began to understand that our products, and we do beef, pork, chicken, meat and eggs, turkey, rabbit, lamb, and duck. All right? And
That was just the right sound, yeah.
and people began to realize, wow, this is different. The egg yolks are orange. The pork fat is unsaturated. So when you cook pork, the fat is soft. When you cook a chicken and the broth
Yeah.
okay, you put it in the refrigerator, and you know how the saturated rises to the top like wax?
Yeah.
We don't have that. Okay? People began to realize this is different. And when we had a lot of people who had allergies, who had rashes from the chlorine, like antimicrobials in foods. You see, we live in a time when our Western cultures view food as needing to be sterile. We are not sterile. We are only 15% human. We're 85% non-human. 3 trillion. That's 1,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000. 1 trillion bacteria live inside of us. Okay? We are not sterile. But the orthodoxy of our day, is that we want food to be sterile and stable and have shelf life. It needs to be transportable. And so our research has been how to make tomatoes that can withstand, bouncing around in a truck. Instead of being more nutritious. So the question is not how do we grow it more nutritiously, more tasty. The question is how do we grow it faster, fatter, bigger, cheaper, as if it's some sort of a machine. We are not machines. Are you with me?
I think everybody is.
And so what we've done in our food orthodoxy, everybody?
Yeah.
Orthodoxy? In our food orthodoxy is that we now have decided it is great to feed your children Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Mountain Dew, and Pop-Tarts, or whatever.
We don't have them in Holland, Pop-Tarts.
You don't have
It's very chemical.
Cheerios, Fruit Loops, for breakfast, but raw milk and compost-grown tomatoes and Aunt Matilda's pickles, homemade, are unsafe. And so, as the industrial food system gets worse and worse down this path, people are beginning to jump off of that ship. Healthcare costs, E. coli, salmonella, campylobacter, listeria, bovine spongiform encephalopathy, mad cow. All right? You like to hear that in Dutch. Bovine spongiform encephalopathy. Can anybody say that in Dutch? Bovine spongiform encephalopathy?
Something you don't want anyway.
You don't want it, okay? But all of these things, the pollution, the stinky air around farms, all of those things are creating aha moments among consumers who are looking for an alternative. And so we provide that alternative for them. Now, they can come to our farm and buy. We have an on-farm store where people come out to the farm, but we're not located, we're on a dirt road. We're not near a population base. And so, that's a little bit problematic, but we have, on an average week, we sell, $10,000 to $20,000 worth of product through our little on-farm store. That's US dollars, not euros, but you can make the translation. The other way that we market is we sell to about 50 restaurants, and restaurants more and more, especially good ones. But we even supply Chipotle Mexican Grill, which is like a competitor to McDonald's. 2 of their restaurants, all of their pork, and they use about $5,000 worth of pork a week in those 2 restaurants. And their customers can tell the difference. When they began and we didn't have enough pork to supply all their needs, they would have customers who came in when our pork was being used and come back into the kitchen and say, "We don't know what you're doing, but this is the best pork we've ever had. Please don't change it." They didn't get that when they were using the other, more organic type product. And so we supply those, and then we also supply about 5,000 families in the urban sector, urban community, and of course, in the U.S. everything is big and spread out. So we deliver up to 4 hours away from the farm, which would be the entire country of the Netherlands.
Outside.
So for you, this is much easier than it is for us, okay? Because you're so much more compact. So if there's anything I see that's a huge positive for you, is you should be able to localize and create this local system much easier than us, where the distances are so far away. But how we do this is with an internet interface. See, we believe that, and maybe this isn't as true here in the Netherlands simply because you are closer, but we believe that there is an efficiency in an electronic, use a big word, aggregation, inventorying, pooling resources electronically. So you go to an internet interface, and it's like a market, but it's electronic. And we can inventory product at our farm, and collaborate with other farmers, and inventory it on a website. And that's very cheap because you don't have to maintain bricks and mortar and cash registers. Okay? And when you can warehouse things that aren't public, with handicap parking, bathrooms, cashiers, fluorescent lighting, are you with me? Mm-hmm. When you can inventory things in your mind instead of in a physical place that everybody comes to, it creates, it mimics this idea of reduced overhead, reduced infrastructure costs, and greatly cheapens the overhead for the customer to product interface. Interface? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And for us, that has been a very major development.
Yeah.
What-
I'd like to. Well, yeah. If that's
Let
okay.
me just finish the
Just
thought.
finish
You
the
finish the
sentence.
thought. Finish the thought. The thought is that today, we went through the agrarian economy. We went through the industrial economy. We went through the information economy. We are now entering the regeneration economy. And that the information...
What is the regeneration?
Regeneration means that we are in a... Regeneration means that we are in a time when many people realize that we are jeopardizing resources.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Whether it's chemical fertilizer, energy, pollution, water. I mean, you don't even think about water here. I can tell you most places in the world are very concerned about water. I just came from a week in Australia in Adelaide. You go up north of Adelaide into the vineyard and all that wheat country. In 1900, the water table averaged 2 meters below the surface of the ground. You could just pound a pipe in and begin pumping, and you had water. It took them 15 years to dry up that aquifer. Now they went into the second one, into the third one. Now they're into the fourth aquifer, 180 meters down, and it's going dry. How long do you do that? So our next activity is to regenerate the hydrologic cycle, the carbon cycle, the soil building cycle, the nutrient-dense food cycle, and to rebuild those in this next. And the information economy gave us the tools to be able to do this. And when we take our tour, you will see that all of this equipment and buildings and machinery has been replaced by an electric thread that all the entire infrastructure for the farm can go in a wheelbarrow. That's amazing! See? But that's the new economy we're in. And so
that is good news for young farmers.
It is. It's very good news for young farmers because it means now that the farm can be divorced from the land. And with land costs as expensive as they are, we desperately need abilities to place productive farms that scale up and down because the infrastructure is not that expensive. Place those in what I call nooks and crannies. Nooks and crannies? Okay. All right. And there are many of those around from the edge of the expressway, all right, to the I mean, why can't down all the roads, why can't that be edible trees?
Yeah.
Okay. Why can't there be terraced vegetables down the edge of the road? Okay. The great big, exits and entrance ramps, all that land, okay, that can all be productive. In Italy, they do that. They divide all that land into little 1/10 of an acre plots. And people bicycle out from the city and tend their plots and take all the vegetables back into the city for the week. And they don't have to mow it and tend it with taxpayer money. This is all productive land. Sorry.
This somehow sounds logical to me.
Yes.
And yet you're the most innovative farmer in the world. How does this match?
Well, I find it fascinating that in Western culture, and we are Western, all right, Greco-Roman, Western, linear, reductionist, compartmentalized, disconnected, individualized, fragmented, systematized. Okay. The East gives us holism. We're connected. We're all together. But I find it fascinating that in the West, our economy, our accounting system, is based on the fact that what creates problems is actually benefiting economic growth. So if everybody gets sick and we need more hospitals, that's economic growth. If everybody gets divorced and we need more psychiatrists, that's economic growth.
It is economic
Yes,
growth.
it is, absolutely. And the fact that we would actually measure destruction in terms of economic growth is incredible. It's incredible. And yet that is exactly the way we have. We don't have the New York Times newspaper. It has the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the stock exchange. Yes. All right. We don't have another chart on the other side of the newspaper that gives us the biological equity of the month. Do we have more earthworms or fewer? Do we have more organic matter or less? Are people healthier or less healthy? We don't have that kind of measure. Are the mycelium and the azotobacter and the gibberellins and the hypha and the mycelium and the fungi and the molds, are they healthier? We don't even think about that. And so that is a problem in that we don't have good measurement mechanisms for that. So, what's the next
Thank
question?
you. I would ask the public. Are they very urgent questions? We have a tight schedule, but a few questions is okay.
I think Mr. Salatin, with all respect, didn't quite answer the question. When you are so successful, why isn't it quite a spread?
Why isn't it adopted more?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're considered bioterrorists.
Yeah.
Because our chickens commiserate with red-winged blackbirds and indigo buntings and robins and spread their diseases to the science-based confinement animal feeding operation, stinky, smelly chicken houses, and threaten the planet's food supply. You see, we have this mentality that if an animal is sick, the first thought of the farmer is, that animal must be pharmaceutically disadvantaged. Our first thought is, what did I do to break down the immunological terrain that allowed that animal to get sick?
You can tell them about the movement of this.
But isn't it just because there are not a lot of people who can make money off your way of farming because you live from solar and carbon?
Yeah, well, yeah. What we do puts money in the
Can you
farmers.
make enough money is the question here.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
yeah,
you can, but,
yeah,
but
yeah.
other people can't make money off him because there are no people who can sell their
so
concentrates.
that's what you
Yeah,
mean. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
No
a great,
diesel,
yeah,
no-
yeah. Our approach puts money in a farmer's pocket, not in all the people that make money off of the farmer buying things.
That's why they don't stimulate it.
Yes, and so I mean even petroleum. In America, the average farmer spends 50% of their expenses are for petroleum, for fuel. 50% of the farmer's expenses. Ours, even though we're running 2 delivery trucks, ours is only 5%. So we are actually substituting labor, management, and information for pharmaceuticals, petroleum, chemical fertilizer, and things like that. For example, we do large-scale composting. Well, the typical way to do large-scale composting is with windrows. You make big windrows, you spin it off, and then you double handle it. You handle it, twice to build it and then to spread it. We make compost in open-sided sheds where we have the cows in the middle of the winter when we have snow, and we let the bedding stack up. We use carbon, wood chips, straw, old hay, sawdust, peanut hulls, bark. All right, just any kind of we call
Squash?
Sparse.
Okay.
yeah, we call this a carbonaceous diaper. Diaper. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we let this build up even more than a meter high, okay? And we add corn to it. The cows tromp out the oxygen, and it becomes a big fermenting static bedding pack that doesn't smell because the ammonia is being tied up in the carbon. And then when the cows go out, we put in pigs. And if you ever looked real closely at a pig, All pigs have a sign on their
We
forehead.
work for corn.
We work for corn. And the pigs then root through this bedding and fling it and aerate it. We called it pigarators. And they, like a big egg beater, go through this and it becomes aerobic compost. And then we spread it on the fields. And so that is the heart and soul of our program. In other words, we let animals do the work. So the cows in the field, we follow the cows, we move them every day, and we follow them with chickens, free-range laying chickens that scratch through the cow pats and eat out the fly larvae and lay thousands of dollars worth of eggs as a byproduct of the pasture sanitation program. And then as the summer comes on and we get grass, you have grasshoppers and crickets here? And, okay. Yeah, and as those increase into the summer, of course, the cows expose those. You know, they're down in the grass. When the cows eat, they're now exposed. The chickens then eat those and convert them into grass. So what we're doing is stacking multiple synergy relationships on an existing pasture. I am convinced that our farm, I haven't been on a farm in the world, including ours, that is fully developed to its capabilities. Now the average farmer says, "What? Do more? I'm tired. I can't do any more." And that's where we need to have partners that come in and are able, with this portable infrastructure, we call those portable chicken houses eggmobiles. We have gobbledygos for turkeys. These are portable turkey structures. You hook it up to a pickup and to a truck, and you can run 100 k, 50 miles an hour down a highway. All of the infrastructure, the chicken shelters, the turkey shelters, the lamb shelters, duck shelters, cow shelters, all of the pig shelters, all of this stuff can go down the road. Now you have a totally portable farm, and so if one person wants to grow chickens, he could come to this farm and run egg layers here, and then when he's done here, he could run egg layers somewhere else, and you move your infrastructure from place to place, and you create collaborative efforts where multiple income streams can be generated from one piece of land. So a piece of land that is currently generating, $1,000 an acre generates $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. In our area, the average farm generates about $200 to $300 per acre in beef cattle production. We generate $10,000 an acre because we've got the cattle, the eggs, the turkeys, the broilers, meat chickens. You've got all of these stackable enterprises. You can run this under an orchard. You can run it under a vineyard. You spread out your plants to make room for other species. Guess what happens when you spread out your plants? Now you don't have fungi and mold. Now you don't have to spray chemicals because enough air can get through the plants. But when the land cost has to be justified by one single commodity, that had better be put really close together to justify the land. But if the land grows a vineyard, chickens, garlic, and vegetables in a rotation that's a multiple income stream, now you can spread out the vineyard to 3 times as wide because all of your income and the land cost isn't having to be paid for with one item.
But the question
Okay, I
was,
have one.
the question was, why doesn't every farmer work this way?
Why doesn't every farmer work this way?
Because they are tired.
Because they're tired.
Because they're tired.
Just a brief answer, please. Yeah.
Well,
Because you're not successful when you can't drive a big tractor.
So
There's movement, I think.
because, yeah.
you're only
because-
successful if you drive a big tractor, someone says.
In the eyes of the
I think it's
farmer.
about
You have to be hard on your
education.
IDs.
So, sorry, we have to.
I think it's about education, and the whole system turns you into monocultures, and
Yeah.
No, it's a culture.
It's a lot of things. What we're dealing with is innovation,
We'll come to talk about this because this is actually the main issue. You had a question?
I want a question. Your farm is mainly meat-based, right? You mentioned
Yes,
pork, or beef,
yes, it's animal-based.
Animal.
animal-based, right? There's not a place for vegetables in the
Yes.
whole picture, or
Yes,
is
there,
it
there,
a choice,
there-
or
yes, there is. In fact, we have some orchard and some vegetables. We have a young lady who has taken over all of our vegetable production as her business. And so because we have a staff of about 25 people, we eat a lot of food, on staff.
Yeah.
Now, so she grows the food for us as a professional grower. She bills us. It's her business, okay? She
but
bills.
it's part of your
Yes.
whole picture.
It's part of the whole picture. Yes, yes. Yeah. So the answer is there are 50 additional incomes to be generated from our farm, and our customers would like more, like more variety. Okay, but we're just not there yet. We've just started.
Yeah.
So,
Just started.
okay, yeah, just one question, because
Do you
I.
sell your stuff frozen? Your meats, or do you sell
Yes,
fresh?
we sell both fresh and frozen.
Both.
A lot of it is sold frozen.
Okay.
It's a little easier that way.
Okay,
More forgiving.
I'd like to talk a bit about health, because you claim
Yes.
your food is healthier,
Yes.
and you also claim your food is healthier.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it has another, maybe you can better say it in English. It's the same food.
It's the same food.
Yeah. Well, the green material, the grass salad bar green material, is what has the carotenes, the antioxidants. Oh boy, the minerals. All right. This is not just about energy. We tend to think about food as just energy. It's not just energy. There are minerals and vitamins and enzymes and fatty acids, all sort of amino acids. There's a ton of them. And so as we go to a pasture-based system, the animals are in a more natural environment. They're functioning in a natural environment, and so their meat, eggs, and milk have a much wider nutritional profile and a balanced nutritional profile, like omega-3, omega-6 fatty acids. If those are imbalanced, then what you have is cardiovascular problems and other diseases. And so the grass tends to balance out those amino acids. I'll just give you an example of one: eggs. We participated in a national survey about 5 years ago where a Mother Earth News magazine, it's a great big magazine, actually paid for a study comparing pastured eggs to regular, supermarket eggs. And the regular supermarket eggs, the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, their official, nutrition label was like 48 micrograms of folic acid. That's one of the fatty acids. Very important if you're pregnant. All right, folic acid.
Podium sugar.
Yeah.
Okay, 48 micrograms per egg. That's on the nutritional label.
Mm-hmm.
Ours averaged 1,048. Okay, that's just one, and you can go down the list: riboflavin, vitamin A, D, E. You can go right down the list, and those kinds of differences are all over the place.
Okay,
And so they're far, far more nutritious.
thanks. Let's talk a bit about, you both claim what we produce is beyond organic. Maybe you can explain this, because we, in the Netherlands, we seem to have organic or not organic, regular food, and there seems to be nothing in between, or nothing beyond, or nothing in either ways.
Well,
So,
I think that the most important difference is that I tend to call conventional and organic, I tend to call them traditional. They are both find their origin in the traditional way of producing. And the only thing, in my eyes, organic farmer does different is when you look at it, he doesn't order chemical fertilizers anymore, and he orders
fish emulsion.
and he orders concentrates that are organic and not conventional. And I think it is necessary for agriculture to take a next step and to change the system under which they work. So leave everything out we created as humans between the cow and the grass, and let, like Joel also says, let the animals do the work, and so we come to a much more efficient way of producing. It is when you look at, when I drove down here, you see all the pastures that are mown and cut for silage. Yeah? There is no business that will pay money to reduce the quality of the product they have. Yeah? Because when you have fresh grass, you have 1100 fems, like we call it. Then we start mowing it, we start schudden, raking, ensiling, taking it out in front of the cows into the stable, and then when we are lucky it has 900 fems. Yeah? Tell that to any other entrepreneur in any other business and he will declare you crazy. Yeah? And we all do that because we think it is efficient. Yeah? But we are fooling ourselves, yeah? And that is just one example, but we have to take it to the next level. Yeah?
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you.
Well, actually, the main issue this morning, or everywhere maybe, how many farmers, because you have been doing this a long time already, right? Like 10,
Yes.
15 years?
Yeah, well, we started it 50 years ago.
50 or
50.
You started as a farmer.
I'm second generation. My dad was crazy too.
Okay, but how many, how many farmers worldwide have followed your example until now?
Oh, thousands.
Thousands?
Yes.
Okay. Because in the Netherlands we have like 35,000 farms with grazing cattle, and over 6,000 farms with pigs and chicken that don't have any land. Mm-hmm. We produce like over 400 million farm animals each year, and I hope I have the number right, but over 12 billion liters of milk each year. And we have like now 50 farmers that work pure graze. So the big question is
50 or 15?
50.
50.
500.
Yeah. More or
So the
less.
big question is, how actually are you going to reach a certain scale? Is there ever going to be a tipping point?
Yes, when the nature is calling us back. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Well, society will not embrace change until it has to. And those tipping points, I don't think anybody knows what those tipping points are, or when they will hit. It could be economic, social, pathogenic, energy, climate. I mean, there are water. I keep bringing up water here because you all have to understand you live in a very unusual place about water. Very unusual.
We have enough.
Yes, you have enough, but this is uncommon. This is uncommon. So we don't know where those tipping points will be, generally, people don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to change my routine. I'm going to change my belief system. You know, people don't do that. And I always enjoy the stories of our customers who express their story about their aha moment when they made a change. Sometimes it's seeing a documentary. Sometimes it's a sick relative. Sometimes it's reading some literature about Monsanto. Okay, so everybody's wake up moment is different. So actually, I'm not frustrated or concerned that people aren't making the change fast enough. I'm simply trying to promote change and letting it grow organically the way it is. Innovation, you have 1 to 3% is the lunatic fringe. So we're the lunatic
You're the
fringe.
lunatics.
Okay, 3 to 10% are the early adopters, and then after you get to 10%, then everybody says, "Well, that's the way we do it." And so in the U.S., I feel like we are approaching 3%. All right, still very small, but that's critical. That's a critical place.
But you also need lunatic consumers, right?
We sure do. We need people that are such lunatics, they actually are as excited about domestic culinary arts, like getting in their kitchen, as they are about the latest belly button piercing in celebrity culture.
But what is it about your products that they really value? Is it taste? What is it? What?
Yes, keep going.
Is it cheaper?
No, it's not cheaper.
Is it the health?
It's the health. It's better tasting. They feel better. They and they absolutely embrace the transparent ability to come to the farm and see their food. We have a 24/7, 365.
They can come anytime, day and night.
Anyone can come from anywhere in the world, anytime, to see anything, anywhere, unannounced. That's our commitment.
Okay.
And you have to understand, we have people now, thousands of people from all over the world who come. So it's not like it's a little dribble, It's a lot of people coming, and we still have that because we absolutely believe that integrity food starts with visibility, transparency. People have to be able to see it.
Okay, Adam. We have time. We have like 15 minutes, and then we go outside. Yeah. I think you wanted to say something about it? No. Okay.
The question.
Okay. Now I lost my own question.
I have a question.
Okay.
People always say if we would do it this way, there wouldn't be enough for the whole world.
Yeah.
What is your
Bugger.
That's my favorite question. My favorite question. First of all, half of all human edible food never gets eaten. That's the first time that's happened on the planet. We throw away more food than any time in human history. We throw it away because it's slightly blemished, or it sat in a warehouse too long and the sell-by date ran out. Spoilage. I was at a farm. I was talking to a guy. I'm sorry, I wasn't at the farm. I did a conference with a guy who had just come from Zimbabwe in Africa. From a green bean manufacturing facility, they export green beans to Europe. And at this facility, at that time, they were processing 2 tons a day, 4,000 pounds a day, 1,800 kilos, okay, a day, and they were throwing out 2,500 kilos a day, throwing them away. I said, what was wrong? He said, oh, they were too long, or too short, or too crooked, Or are you with me?
Yeah.
And this is our food system. Dairies. If there's one taint of antibiotic residue in a tanker full of milk, because remember, the milk truck goes from this farm to this one, to this one, to this one, and then if they go back and oops, there's a bit of antibiotic something in there, they throw away the whole truckload. This happens all over the place. So, right now, if I could snap my fingers and double the Earth's food production, it would not feed one more person. Nobody goes hungry because there's not enough food. They go hungry because of socioeconomic distribution or other issues. It's not because there's not enough food. So we're producing plenty of food. That's number one. Number two is that we don't have an integrated system. Our ancestors had an integrated system. They could not afford to ship food all around the planet. Now, they shipped some, spices and things like that, but generally, people ate predominantly from their own area, including the chickens they had at their own house. Do you know that one dog eats more food and makes more poop than 11 chickens? So you can eliminate the dog and the cat and the snake and the gerbil and the turtle and the parakeet and put 2 chickens in your house. They will eat the kitchen scraps, give you 2 eggs, and now the kitchen scraps don't go on a diesel truck to go to a landfill or a composting facility, and you get 2 eggs, and we don't have to have a chicken farm anywhere. See, that is a fundamentally integrated system as opposed to a segregated system. We have taken this beautiful circle that was highly integrated, and we have separated it so the food is produced out there, processed over here, warehoused over here, and then eaten over here, and then the waste goes over here. Are you with me? Instead of a tightly knit system. Now what that means is that as consumers, as urban populations, we have to be willing to allow our neighbors to grow food.
Isn't it because oil is actually still too cheap? Transportation is too cheap.
Well, yeah, that's true. The only reason that this system exists is due to cheap petroleum. If petroleum went more expensive, it would crumble. That's true. But all I'm suggesting, but the question is, can this feed the world? And I'm suggesting that if we have an integrated system and we have edible landscaping instead of ornamental landscaping, and I like flowers. I'm not saying you can't grow a flower. I'm just saying some of this land growing manicured hedges and espaliered ornamental trees can also grow food.
Okay, I have one last question before we go outside. I think, you say we grow organically, and then finally we'll all have a sort of mindset change, or I think a lot of people here, and at least I do, have a large sense of urgency. Mm-hmm. Is there any way to speed up this movement? To help farmers? What should local governments do, by example?
Well, I'm a libertarian.
So you don't need a government. Well, we have a lot of governments in Holland.
Yes. Well, I guess I would say this, that the quickest way to move it forward is to simply quit subsidizing through information, through regulation, through direct payments, but to quit subsidizing the alternative. Okay. I mean, as an American, I can tell you that if we took the money that we spent on military operations in the Middle East to make sure that we got cheap fuel, if we took that money and kept it at home, 1 week in the Iraq War, and I hope they don't take away my passport for this, but one week in the Iraq War would have doubled the, if put in the school lunch program, the school lunches, it would have doubled the allowance, and every single school lunch could have been our kind of food. Yes. For 1 week that we spent in Iraq, you know what that would have done to farmers like us? It would have been like a shot of adrenaline, wah! Like farm Schwarzeneggers, we'd be expanding on steroids, But the fact is that the system and the EU, I'm sure you're aware that the new food safety regulations, the insurance regulations, the insurance companies, how do you get product liability insurance when you have the animals outside and unvaccinated? And so the right now the orthodoxy creates a subsidy concession, good old buddy fraternity to make sure that the powers currently in charge stay in charge. And so if all of this policy, government, and all of this stuff would simply quit helping the other side, our side would just expand by default. It would expand fast.
Okay. Thank you so far. We're going to take a tour outside. Yeah, sorry. Are you not done yet?
And also in the rotation schedule, the first potatoes, the second year.
Grazing, you can increase your production.
Yes.
From 70 cow days per hectare till
Yeah,
140 or something.
Well, in our county, the average is 80, and we average 400. 5 times the county
I'm
average.
quite happy then.
We zijn hier het bedrijf van Erik. Erik die houdt vleesvee voor ons. Dat zijn dus stieren op dit moment en ik denk ook een paar ossen voor de vleesproductie. Hij past natuurlijk werken toe. Onderdeel van natuurlijk werken is een... we hebben ook saladebevetten ontwikkeld. Dat zijn dus grasmengsels die dus weggaan van traditioneel Engels raaien en witte klaver. En waar er 6 verschillende grassoorten in zitten, 8 kruidensoorten en 8 klaversoorten. Je moet zo voorstellen dat in de tijd, historisch gezien, de ontwikkeling van Engels raaien valt samen met de opkomst van kunstmest. En Engels raaien gaf in oude proeven, destijds gaf het de hoogste opbrengstverhoging bij gebruik van kunstmest. Wanneer je dus je bedrijf klaar wilt maken voor de toekomst en dus zonder kunstmest wilt produceren, maar met behulp van een gesloten kringloop, dus met behulp van je bodem en niet alleen op je bodem, dan moet je dus ook weg van Engels raaien. En vandaar dus dat we die saladebevetten hebben ontwikkeld. Die zijn hier op verschillende percelen zijn ze doorgezaaid, zeg maar. Dus Erik die zaait ze, ik denk gewoon met de kunstmest strooien, zeg maar. Dus oppervlakkig, zeg maar. En ze worden dan in de grond getrapt door het vee. We gaan hierin wat percelen bekijken. Deze percelen daar zijn ze dus, ik denk vorige week uitgekomen.
Ja.
Ja. En je ziet dus, we passen stripgrazen toe. Eigenlijk gaat een stap verder. Het is management intensief grazen. Dat houdt dus in, zeg maar, dat afhankelijk van dus, de lengte van het gewas wordt er een groter of kleiner stuk gegeven. Zodat je dus altijd een goede match hebt tussen wat ze op dat moment willen eten en wat ze op dat moment aangeboden krijgen. Zodat je een egaal afgegraasd perceel krijgt, wat echter niet te kort is afgegraasd, zeg maar. Omdat de grond wil bedekt zijn en op je bodem leven heeft een hekel aan zonlicht. Dus je moet voldoende dekking houden op je grond. Ja? En het een andere ding is, wanneer je dus gras produceert zonder kunstmest, maar met behulp van zonlicht. Het zijn allemaal zonlichtcollectoren die hier staan. En wanneer je een grasplant oppakt, dan zie je dus dat hij van onder helemaal wit is. En dat hij naarmate je verder naar boven komt, dat hij groener wordt. En hoe groener die is, hoe meer zonne-energie die om kan zetten in plantenenergie. Ja, en die capaciteit die willen we dus in stand houden, ondanks dat er dus gegraasd is. Nou is mooie koeien die grazen in lagen, dus ze grazen er altijd een laag voor laag grazen ze hem af. En dat is omdat dus de voedingswaarde per laag ook verschilt. Ja, en dat is een heel natuurlijk proces en koeien die kunnen dat hartstikke goed, zeg maar. Want ze nemen, ik weet niet hoeveel happen per minuut, zeg maar ondanks dat grazen ze hem heel secuur af. En op die manier, wanneer je dus voldoende lengte in je gewas houdt, hou je ook die omzettingscapaciteit in stand, zeg maar. Nou, en dat is wat we dus proberen te bereiken. Nou, je ziet dus hier, wanneer zijn ze hier uitgekomen, Erik? Hier uit dit stuk.
Uit dit stuk, dat is 1,5 week geleden.
1,5 week geleden, dus dit is er weer gegroeid, zeg maar, in 1,5 week.
Ja.
Ja. En je kunt dus ook zien, zeg maar, dat dus de verschillende vakken kun je dus ook in feite zien, zeg maar, dat er dus vooruitgeschoven wordt. En het gaat er dan om dat zo'n perceel dus rust krijgt om te groeien. Want gras groeit gras, maar ook rust zorgt voor grasgroei.
Hoe lang wanneer zou het hier weer inkomen dan? Hoe lang zou je dat doen?
Erik. Dat is voor jou.
Ik denk dat ik hier in een week of 3, 4 terug kan komen.
Niet eerder?
Nee, maar ja, ik kan wel eerder, maar ik wil juist weer veel massa hebben. Kun je daar straks ook wel zien, ik weet in veel langer was het dat ik vroeger deed, maar dat je ook meer, je gaat later in, je gaat er eerder weer uit, zodat je veel laat staan, zodat je ook veel licht weer vangt en ook weer veel snellere hergroei hebt.
En merk je nou ook dat de productie van je grond is verhoogd?
Ja. We kunnen straks bij het maisland ook wel zien, daar heeft een aantal jaren achter elkaar mais gestaan en dan kun je zien, en ik heb dit jaar heb ik voor het eerst mest aangevoerd, daarvoor kon ik ook geen ruimte om mest aan te voeren. En daar kun je dus ook zien dat het nu ook een opbouw komt in...
Ja, de bodemvruchtbaarheid neemt toe.
Ja, de vruchtbaarheid neemt toe, ja.
Ja.
Had je geen wettelijke ruimte om toe te laten?
Nee.
Nee. Zullen we even naar het andere perceel gaan?
Mag ik wat vragen?
Ja.
U bent collega boer, u bent beide uit...
Ik ben de bedenker van het concept van Pure Grace, zeg maar.
Ah,
en,
u boert niet zelf?
Nee, niet
Maar
meer.
werkt u dan samen met een andere boer om, wat meneer Salatin zegt, om het te kruisbestuiven met weilanden? U heeft bijvoorbeeld de kippen en die man heeft de varkens.
Nee.
We kunnen elkaar, want er lopen hier ook nog kippen op. Want
Nee,
we zouden
nee,
die
helemaal
dingetjes
niet.
uit-
Het is voor mij ook een groei- en ontdekkingsproces
Ja.
van waar ik vandaan kom en waar...
Maar is dat wel...
Dat is wel de bedoeling.
Ja.
Wij gaan wel
Ja.
die kant op.
Dus daar gaat u
Ja.
heen.
Ja,
Ja.
daar gaan we wel naartoe.
Heeft u dan ook al vergelijkbare resultaten hier zoals meneer Salatin in Amerika heeft?
Nee.
Nog niet.
Nee.
Daarmee, welke vergelijkbare
Nou ja,
resultaten
de
bedoelt u?
opbrengsten van het land, de opbrengsten van
Ja.
de bepaalde kilo's, bepaalde hoeveelheden
De hoge stofopbrengst bedoelt u?
die je van de grond afkrijgt,
Ja.
die in Amerika bereikt zijn, kan je dat hier ook realiseren in Nederland.
Ja, dat kun je hier ook realiseren. Wanneer je hier verschillende enterprises, zoals hij ook doet, op elkaar zet, zeg maar, dan kun je datzelfde hier ook bereiken. Waarom zou dat niet? Sorry?
Het heeft niks met klimaat te maken.
Nee.